Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff. Below you is fog, thick, silent, unknown. Behind you, everything you've ever known. Your doubts, your fears, your failures, your excuses. In front of you, possibility, but here's the catch. There's no bridge, no ladder, no wings, just your mind, and in that moment you realize what gets you across is not what's beneath your feet, it's what's behind your eyes. Mindset is everything. You see, the world doesn't hand you power, it doesn't gift you greatness, it tests you, it whispers, "Are you sure?" When you dream big, it throws storms when you start to rise. And if your mind isn't your strongest muscle, you'll surrender before the battle even begins. But if it is, oh, if it is, then even the impossible becomes a playground. Some people walk through life with talent, luck, or connections. But the ones who build legacies, the ones who change the game, the ones whose names echo long after they're gone, they all have one thing in common, a mindset that refused to break. When you believe you're stuck, you're right. When you believe you're growing, you're right. The mind is not a mirror, it's a blueprint. It doesn't just reflect your world, it creates it. You think champions are born. No. Champions are made through brutal mornings when no one's watching, through silent sacrifices no one will ever applaud, through failure after failure after failure, until the mind says, again. The right mindset turns pain into fuel. It sees rejection not as a wall but a detour. It looks at no and hears not yet. The right mindset doesn't need motivation. It creates it. It doesn't chase success. It attracts it. Because mindset shapes behavior, and behavior becomes destiny. Look around. Right now, someone with half your talent is living the life you dream about. Not because they had more, but because they believed more. Because they told themselves the right story when life tried to break them. So ask yourself, what story are you telling yourself? That you're too late, too tired, not ready, or that you're just getting started? The difference between fear and freedom, mindset. The difference between quitting and greatness, mindset. The difference between watching others live your dream or you building it with your own hands. It's always been mindset. Your next level doesn't need permission. It needs conviction. It needs you to stop tiptoeing around your potential and demand more of yourself. Not later, not when it's convenient, now, because the life you want, the version of you that you know exists, it's already out there, waiting, and the only bridge from here to there is built in your mind. So step forward and build it. Your mind creates your reality, not in some abstract, fluffy way, but in the raw, practical, blood and sweat kind of way. Before you build a business, before you lift a trophy, before you change the world, you build it here in the invisible battlefield of your mind. Everything you see around you, everything you admire or envy or aspire to, started as a thought, a vision, a belief that it was possible. The mind doesn't wait for proof, it creates it. And once it believes something fully, it begins to bend reality around that belief. You wake up differently when your mind is locked in. You walk differently. You speak with intention. You see problems not as threats, but as puzzles. The same world that felt heavy, unfair, stacked against you, suddenly becomes full of openings, cracks in the armor, chances to grow. What changed? Not the world. You did. You see, if you walk into the world believing you're not enough, you'll find 100 reasons to confirm it. Every look, every failure, every silence feels like rejection. But if you walk in believing you're built for more, even when you're not there yet, you start seeing every moment as a step forward, every challenge as feedback, every loss as a setup for something greater. This isn't false positivity, it's mental architecture. It's building a mind so strong, so rooted that the storm doesn't break you. It builds you. You don't see limits, you see levers. You don't shrink in uncertainty, you expand in it. That's what it means when we say mindset is everything. It's the lens, the engine, the architect. Without the right mindset, even the best opportunities slip through your fingers. But with it, Even the darkest days have direction. Your life bends to the shape of your thoughts, so the question is, what shape are yours? It's not the situation that defines your success, but how you respond to it, because here's the truth. Life doesn't hand out fair starts. Some are born with less, some are handed more, but over time that difference fades. What remains? What separates the ones who rise from the ones who stay down? Belief. Belief is more powerful than circumstance. You could be surrounded by chaos, raised in hardship, doubted by everyone, including yourself. But if somewhere inside you there's even a flicker of belief, that you're meant for more, that you can overcome, that you will keep going, that spark can light a path through the darkest places. Look around you. The world is full of people stuck in average, not because they aren't capable of more, but because they accepted the conditions around them as truth. They looked at the scoreboard, the bank account, the rejection letters, and they made a decision. This is who I am. They let the circumstance define the identity, and that is the real prison. But belief, real belief, defies the evidence. It stares reality in the face and says, "You haven't seen the best of me yet." Belief isn't denial. It's defiance. It's choosing to move forward even when the facts tell you to stop. Because belief understands something deeper, that reality bends when pressure meets persistence. You don't rise when everything is perfect. You rise when you believe you can in the middle of the storm, the job loss, the heartbreak, the empty room, the nights where no one claps for you, no one sees the work, and you show up anyway. That's where belief is forged, not in applause, but in silence. And the moment your belief becomes stronger than your excuses, your whole life shifts. Circumstances lose their grip, opinions lose their weight, and the limits you thought were holding you back, you see them for what they really are, tests. Not to break you, but to reveal you. So no, it's not the world outside that matters most. It's the world inside, because when you believe with everything you've got, the facts stop being facts and start becoming fuel. Growth doesn't happen in the light. It happens in the dark, in the quiet, in the places no one wants to go. You don't become stronger by avoiding pain. You become stronger by meeting it, leaning into it, and realizing it doesn't own you. The struggle, the setbacks, the sleepless nights, they're not detours, they're the path, because nothing worth becoming is handed to you. You earn it in resistance. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well. Easy to smile when the sun's out, but real growth, that's forged in the grind, when the weights are heavy, when the progress is slow, when the results don't come and your effort feels invisible. That's when the transformation is happening, not on the outside, but inside where it counts. You've probably felt it, the urge to quit when it gets uncomfortable, the voice that says, "Maybe I'm not cut out for this." But here's the truth. If it wasn't hard, it wouldn't change you. Pressure reveals the cracks, but it also forces you to reinforce them, to adapt, to evolve. It's the resistance that sharpens the edge. Every person you admire, every leader, every creator, every fighter was forged by pain, not because they enjoyed it, but because they understood it. They didn't run from discomfort. They built their power through it. They saw setbacks not as signs to stop, but as signals to dig deeper, the uncomfortable places. That's where confidence is born. That's where discipline is carved out. That's where you stop wishing for the version of yourself you want to become and start building it, brick by brick, bruise by bruise. And one day you'll look back, not at the easy moments, not at the applause, but at the nights you almost broke, the mornings you didn't want to rise, and you'll realize that was it. That was the real work. That was the forge, because struggle doesn't weaken you. It wakes you up. It reminds you what you're made of. And if you keep pushing, if you keep showing up, you won't just grow, you'll become undeniable. The story you tell yourself is everything. Before the world labels you, you label yourself, and that label becomes your identity, not because it's true, but because you've repeated it so many times that your mind starts building walls around it. I'm not good enough. I always mess it up. I'm just not that kind of person. These aren't facts, they're scripts, and the more you repeat them, the more they become the silent rules you live by. But here's the secret no one tells you. Those scripts, you can rewrite them. Your brain is always listening. Every word you say to yourself, every story you repeat inside your head, it's building you or breaking you. And most people don't even realize it. They're stuck living in a narrative they didn't choose. Maybe it came from a parent, a teacher, a failure, a moment they never processed. And now, that moment is driving the whole show. But the most powerful thing you'll ever do is take the pen back. You are not your past. You are not the worst thing you've done. You are not the version of yourself that got it wrong. You are what you choose to believe about who you are right now. And when you start telling yourself a better story, not a perfect one, not a fantasy, but one rooted in growth, in truth, in possibility, everything starts to change. You stop playing small. You stop waiting for permission. You stop talking to yourself like a critic and start talking to yourself like a coach. This is where the shift begins, because your life moves in the direction of your dominant story. If the story is filled with fear, you'll shrink. If the story is filled with doubt, you'll hesitate. But if the story says, I'm not there yet, but I will be, I'm learning, I'm adapting, I'm becoming, then even your setbacks start to look like setups. Words shape belief, belief shapes identity, and identity, that shapes everything. So the next time you speak to yourself, ask, would I say this to someone I love? If not, rewrite it. Speak like someone whose future is unfolding. Because it is, and it starts with the story you choose to tell. Motivation is a spark, but discipline, that's the fire. Everyone wants the results. Everyone wants the transformation. But most people are waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel inspired, waiting for the mood to be just right. But the truth, that moment rarely comes. And if your growth depends on how you feel, you're already giving your power away. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's what shows up when motivation disappears. Because motivation is emotional, temporary, unpredictable. It's a wave. But discipline is a choice. A habit, a decision made in advance. I'm doing this no matter what. And that choice, that consistency, that's what builds greatness. Not the big wins, not the highlights, but the repetition. The early mornings when no one claps. The late nights when you're tired and empty, but you show up anyway. The boring, unsexy work that no one posts about. But that's the difference. That's where self-respect is born. Because every time you follow through, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would, you reinforce a truth inside yourself. I am the kind of person who follows through. And over time, that identity becomes stronger than any excuse. The ones who build legacies aren't the ones who always feel inspired. They're the ones who do it anyway. They run when it rains. They write when the words don't come. They grind when no one's watching. Because they understand the math of growth. Small effort repeated consistently compounds into something extraordinary. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to feel powerful every day. You just need to keep showing up. Day after day, brick by brick. Even if today's brick is chipped and crooked and heavy, it still gets placed. It still counts. And that's where the magic happens. Not in the grand moments, but in the grit. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop looking for a feeling. Build the discipline, build the structure, be the storm, not the leaf being tossed around in it. Because at the end of the day, the results don't care how you felt. Only that you did the work. Every no you hear is not a door slammed shut forever. It's a challenge disguised as a detour. The moment you let rejection define you, you give away your power. But the moment you see it as feedback, as a stepping stone, that's when everything changes. Imagine a sculptor chipping away at marble. Each strike removes something, sometimes more than they expected, but the goal isn't to stop at the first chip. The goal is to keep shaping, refining, until the masterpiece emerges. That's what rejection is, the chisel in your hand, carving you into the version of yourself you're meant to become. It's not easy. The sting of hearing no can cut deep. It can echo in your mind, making you question your worth, your path, your dreams. But that sting, it's temporary. What lasts is what you do with it. You can let rejection close you off, or you can let it open you up. The most successful people aren't those who avoided rejection. They're those who experienced it again and again and kept moving forward. They learned from every no how to sharpen their approach, how to find a new angle, how to grow tougher. Rejection became their teacher, not their enemy. Think about every great invention, every breakthrough, every story of triumph. Behind it, there were countless rejections, doors closed, opportunities missed, doubts cast. But those people didn't stop at the no. They heard the not yet in every rejection. They understood it wasn't a verdict, but a challenge. Rejection isn't about failure, it's about redirection. It forces you to pivot, to innovate, to stretch beyond what you thought possible. It separates those who are content with comfort from those who hunger for growth. So next time you face rejection, don't shrink. Don't let it define your worth or stop your journey. Instead, lean into it, learn from it, use it as fuel, because every no brings you one step closer to the yes that will change everything. In the end, rejection isn't a dead end, it's a detour to something greater, and your mindset decides whether you get lost or find the way. Self-belief is the foundation of every achievement. Talent, it's overrated. Opportunity, it's unpredictable, but belief is something you can control. It's the quiet, steady force that keeps you going when the world doubts you. It's the voice inside that says, I am capable, even when there's no proof yet. And that voice, that belief, it's the difference between those who succeed and those who watch from the sidelines. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone with less skill, less training, less resources rise above the rest? And not because they were luckier, but because they believed harder, because they refused to let doubt be louder than hope, because deep down they knew they belonged in the arena, even when others tried to push them out. Belief doesn't mean you don't struggle. It doesn't mean you never feel fear or uncertainty. It means you choose to keep going despite those feelings. It means you hold a vision of yourself that's stronger than your current reality. It means you treat setbacks as lessons, not as evidence that you don't belong. When you believe in yourself, you start to act differently. You take risks you wouldn't have dared before. You speak up. You push boundaries. You don't wait for validation from others because you already know your worth. That confidence creates momentum, and momentum creates results. And here's the powerful truth. Belief is contagious. When you believe in yourself, others start believing in you too. Doors open, opportunities appear, and people want to be part of your journey. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. And real confidence is magnetic. But if you doubt yourself even a little, it shows. It creates hesitation, second guessing, and missed chances. You become your own biggest obstacle, so nurture that belief, protect it. Feed it with small wins, positive habits, and relentless self-compassion. Because every great story starts with someone who believed in themselves long before the world did. Believe first, then act, then watch how your life begins to transform. Your future isn't waiting around the corner. It's being built right now in this moment. Waiting for the right time is the oldest trap in the book. We tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow. I'll begin when I feel ready. I'll take the leap once I have more confidence, more money, more clarity. But here's the truth. The perfect moment almost never comes. The conditions will never be flawless. The stars won't align on your schedule. If you keep waiting for the world to hand you permission, you'll stay exactly where you are. Because time doesn't wait for you to be ready. It moves forward with or without you. The difference is conviction. Conviction means making a choice, right now, to act in spite of uncertainty. It means planting your flag in the ground and saying, "This is my moment. This is my path," not because everything is perfect, but because you're committed to creating something bigger than your fears. The people who change their lives, who rewrite their stories, don't wait for all the answers. They start with the pieces they have, imperfect and incomplete. They trust the process, knowing they will learn, adjust, and grow along the way. Your future is built on the small decisions you make every day. The choice to get up early, to learn something new, to say yes when you want to say no, to keep going when giving up feels easier. Each decision stacks on the last, brick by brick, forming the foundation for everything to come. It's not about being perfect from the start. It's about starting with what you have and trusting that progress will come through persistence. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for permission. Your future is happening right now, shaped by the courage you show today. Step forward with conviction, build with intention, and watch as your world transforms, not because conditions changed, but because you did. Everything you want, every dream you hold, every goal you chase, it all begins in the mind. Your mind is the birthplace of your future. It's where the seed is planted, where the vision takes shape long before it ever becomes real. Without that first moment of belief, without that spark of imagination and faith, nothing moves forward. Think about it. Nothing you see around you, no invention, no masterpiece, no movement, started as anything more than an idea in someone's mind. The difference between the impossible and the possible is the mind willing to hold onto a vision, even when no one else sees it. But it's more than just dreaming. It's the decision to take control of your mental world, to choose the thoughts you feed, to refuse the narratives that shrink you and embrace the ones that build you. Because your mind is like soil. It can either nourish growth or choke it out with weeds of doubt and fear. Mastering your mindset means becoming the gardener of your own life. It means planting the seeds of hope, watering them with discipline, and protecting them from the storms of negativity. When you do this, your mind becomes a powerhouse, creating the energy, the resilience, and the clarity needed to bring your dreams into reality. But if you let your mind run wild, filled with limiting beliefs, excuses, and fears, you'll become trapped in a cycle of inaction. You'll watch your dreams fade, not because they weren't meant for you, but because your mind was never ready to fight for them. So the question is not whether your dream is possible. The question is, are you ready to master your mind? Because everything you want, success, happiness, freedom, fulfillment, starts there. It's the first battle, the foundation, the launch pad. You can have all the talent, resources, and luck in the world, but without a mindset built for growth and belief, none of it will reach its full potential. Your next level begins here, with a decision to take control of your mind, to shape your thoughts, and to build the life you've always wanted. Starting now,